Good morning, everyone. I'm also joined on stage by my colleague, Krithika. Huge round of applause for Krithika as well, please. All right. First, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all our customers and partners that are joining us here today. As Joe mentioned, we have an incredible lineup of speakers and a power-packed session agenda through the course of the day that hopefully will inspire you and empower you. But more importantly, we're here to learn from you, to listen to you, and build connections. So I highly encourage all of you guys to stay through the day, meet all the experts that we have from SupportLogic here, also meet some of the industry thought leaders that we have here as well, and make best use of this conference. It's impossible to be at a product keynote in 2024 and not talk about AI, right? But we're not just going to talk about AI, we're actually going to show all live demonstrations of all the wonderful AI stuff that we've been working over the last few months. And we all know, live demos can sometimes go wrong, right? I mean, I always say they work perfectly till the time you're going to show that they work perfectly, right? So if they go wrong, cheer for us, clap for us, pray for us, and we'll make them work. All right. But before I go into the live demos, I think it's important to touch upon the evolution of AI at SupportLogic. Krishna talked about it. We're extremely proud of this because, from the time SupportLogic was founded, we've been pushing the boundaries of innovation by leveraging the latest trends in AI. In 2017, when Google announced their first modern large language model, Krishna talked about it, BERT, we were one of the first early adopters in the Valley, at least in the startup ecosystem, to be leveraging BERT to build classifiers and build our aspect-based sentiment analysis. This is the core of what we've done from the beginning. We've heard some wonderful stories today from some of our customers that use some of these components. So this is the signal extraction engine that we already built out in 2018. In 2019, we launched our scoring engine, which is essentially a heuristic-based model, which we leverage for sentiment scores, attention scores, QA scores, account health score, and so on. And this is also sitting on a very, very strong foundation of some of the mathematical models that are used in digital signal processing. And we did this way back in 2019. In 2020, we launched our flagship predictive engine, which predicts escalations. We heard so many wonderful stories of how customers have used our prediction algorithms to reduce escalations. This was done already in 2020. In 2021, we launched our multi-model recommendation engine that we use for case routing. And this works in actually two modes. It works in a fully autonomous mode where, based on many different criteria, and we're going to look at all of this in the demos, it can automatically route agents or route tickets to the right agents. Or it can also work in a manual mode where it can help a human being pick the right agent for the right case. Now, this is interesting because there is all the hype around agentic AI right now. This was our foray into agentic AI way back in 2021. Then we built the alerting framework in 2022. Last year, we introduced the summarization engine that we're going to look at in detail during the demos. We do summarization at an account level, we do summarization at a case level, we do summarization at a knowledge level, and we're going to look at all of that in the demos as well. And of course, under the hoods, we use the best fit-for-purpose large language model. We use Anthropic Cloud Sonnet 3, we use Mistral, we use AWS Bedrock services. But again, this is out of the experience that we have of which model is best for what kind of a use case. And then earlier this year, we launched our precision RAG-powered answer engine. Now, this is huge, and this definitely needs a little bit of an explanation. We all know in complex tech support, your simple keyword-based searches, or even for that matter, your common RAG architectures do not work because any internet-trained embeddings will not correspond with your domain-specific corpus. So basically, what our answer engine does is it's an implicit answering engine that continuously learns from the data. It combs through all the knowledge sources. It could be dynamic sources like your cases, like your Jira tickets, as well as static sources like your KB articles, your publicly available documentation on the product or whatever, and then finds the right solutions and the right answers for the problems that you have. So this is huge, and we're going to talk and show you all of this in some time as well. In summary, we have proven best-in-class engines and models for signal detection, for predicting escalations, for recommending the right agents, and we are also pushing the boundaries of innovation on the cutting edge agentic AI as well as precision RAG. Now, culmination of all these AI innovations, combined with the richness of data that we have across all post-sales interactions, combined with the deep understanding of the business domain that we have from a support context perspective in the company, as well as a very thoughtful and a purposeful approach to bring all of that together into a unified all-in-one support experience platform, gives us the portfolio that we have that you see on the screen. Again, I'm not going to go through the slides. We're going to very quickly go into the demos, but just a quick recap. Krishna had it on his presentation as well. The core is meant for support operations efficiency. It has the sentiment analysis. It has the escalation management engine. It has the backlog management. And then we have the 4 add-on modules. We have the assign module to basically intelligently route the right cases to the right agents. We have the elevate module, which is essentially our quality monitoring and coaching tool. We have the assist module, mainly catered towards agent productivity. We have the expand module that Krishna announced today, which is meant for technical account managers, and customer success managers to get a holistic score about the accounts. And then, of course, we have the Resolve SX, which is essentially our precision RAG-powered answering engine, which could be used both by the customers on the portal, on the chatbot, but it could also be used internally by any person in the organization, and we will have a good demo of that as well. With that, moment of truth, demos. All right, so there are 5 demos that we would like to show you today for the 5 different personas. We're going to start with the agent, then go to the support manager, quality assurance on an auditor, account manager, and what we're calling as the answer seeker. Let's start with the agent. Again, we're going to look at how an agent can review and prioritize their case backlog, troubleshoot a complex case, get summaries, get the right answers, search for additional information that they may need before they respond back to the customer, and of course, in the end, craft a response. Let's switch over, Krithika, to the demo now. So what you see on the screen right now is essentially a view of SupportLogic that can be embedded within your system of record. In this case, it's a Salesforce. It could be a ServiceNow. It could be a Zendesk. It could be a Microsoft Dynamics, or whichever CRM do you use. So basically, what we are doing is, while the agent is looking at cases, we are able to bring sentiments and signals from SupportLogic into this UI so that they can identify which are the right tickets that they need to be working on. For example, the attention scores give you, which are the most urgent cases that need urgent attention. The sentiment scores, as well as the sentiments that you see on the top, also give you a good pulse on what are the different sentiments across all the different cases. You can filter, you can sort, and so on. Let's say I've identified as an agent one of the cases that I want to work on. I click on this, and then I land on the case details page within your Salesforce. On the right-hand side, what you see is essentially our embeddable widget. This again is currently being shown in the context of Salesforce, but you can embed this widget in your CRM as well. Now, the tab that we're focusing on right now is called the Resolve Assist. Think of it almost like helping an agent troubleshoot a case. Now, whether it's a simple how-to kind of a case where an agent just needs to look for the right knowledge article or a solution, or it's a more complex case where the agent really needs to troubleshoot, Resolve Assist basically helps you do that. How do we do that? There are three things that are extremely important once again. First, as we said, the simple keyword-based searches do not work. Just because the subject of the case has two keywords, you cannot always assume, at least in complex tech support, that you'll be able to find the right solution based on those keywords or any other metadata. So what we essentially do is, this is built to work for almost case as a query, as opposed to keyword as a query. So we can take from the case summary that you have on the top of the screen, almost derive the context of what the case is, and pass that almost as a query to our knowledge engine. Second, then we comb through all the knowledge sources that it has been connected to. Again, as I said, these could be static sources like your KB articles, or these could be complex, dynamic sources like your Jira tickets, like your past cases, and find the right solution. So on the screen, you can also see it shows all based on the implicit query, which was the case summary. It's able to find the right knowledge sources or the past tickets. From here, I can click on any of these, and I can navigate to, if it was a case, it will go back into your SupportLogic system, or if it was a knowledge article, it will go back to wherever your knowledge article is stored. On top of that, we also actually produce the knowledge summary. This is, again, a good, effective use of a large language model. We use Mistral for this, where we essentially take all the possible right solutions that the system has identified as part of the troubleshooting, and we are able to compose a knowledge summary based on the referenced knowledge articles. On top of that, I can also go to the knowledge search tab on the far right, and this is where, outside of the case context, as an agent, if I have an intuition, hey, I've heard about this issue before, I can just look up for something, and again, outside of the case context, also find something else that could be helpful in providing the right solution to the customer. Now, before I respond back to my customer, maybe I also want to get a good sense of all the latest sentiments. So this is where I go into the Case Insights tab. This is where you see that there is an extremely low sentiment score of 0, a very high attention score of 100. There is a lot of negative signals, including frustration. So maybe this is an input that I want to use as an agent to fine-tune my response when I go and respond back to the customer. So by a single click, the knowledge summary, along with all the articles that were found as possible solutions, are drafted as a response on the Resolve Assist tab. You also have the next steps and stuff like that. What the agent can also do is they can attach any other files that they may want to attach before sending this response to the customer. They can change the tonality. We have prompts built in our platform for tonality. For example, and probably I want this response to be a little bit more empathetic because of all the frustration that the customer has been facing. I could also change the language of the response in case I'm responding back to a customer that prefers a different language, all built in this productivity toolkit packaged for agents. So this was the very first demo geared towards how do you make agents productive by helping them troubleshoot and find the right solutions and quickly send those responses to the customers. Second demo. This is my favorite one because this honestly touches pretty much everything that we've done and we are doing as a company. This is a support manager. So what we're going to look at in the context of a support manager is, typically support managers are either working on escalations or working to prevent escalations. So in this particular demo scenario, what we will see is how a support manager monitors the support queue, focuses on the urgent and the escalated cases, finds a case that is likely to escalate because it's predicted by our predictive algorithm, gets a summary of the case activity because the support manager is not in the day-to-day works of working on the case directly, leverages AI to determine the next best action, and also marks this particular case for audit, which is something that we will show you as well. Okay, over to the demo. All right, so now, a support manager can either be, working on our homepage, we call it the console for all our customers that use it today, or the cockpit, which kind of gives, a good sense of what's happening for a support manager. But in this particular case for demo, we've configured certain alerts using our alerting framework in the engine that I was talking about, which is proactively notifying the support manager that there is a case that is likely to escalate. And this could be in Slack, this could be in email, this could be in MS Teams, or whatever communication channel you use in your company. So in this particular case, it's showing me, one of those cases is likely to escalate. I can actually take actions here in Slack itself, but I'm actually going to inspect this case in more detail and launch directly SupportLogic UI from here. All right, so now I'm looking at a case as a support manager. And this is a classic omni-channel case, which may have started on the web. Maybe there were some chat interactions. Looks like there is also a voice interaction here. Krishna was talking about our integration with telephony systems. So in this particular case, the voice recording from any of your telephony systems is brought into our platform. And then when we run our sentiment and signal detection, we also run it on the voice transcript itself. So as you can see on the top, there are so many different signals that have been identified, including signals that were detected on the voice call itself. Okay, as a support manager, I have a pretty good sense of, there is a lot of frustration and urgency and a churn risk signals. Next, maybe I'm going to get a quick summary of what has been happening on this particular case. So I can quickly click on the case summary. Now again, when we were talking about case summarization in the previous demo from an agent perspective, the persona is agent and the main context is troubleshooting. Whereas for a support manager, it's less of the troubleshooting. It's more of what should I be doing as a support manager? Do I need to bring a swarming team together? Do I actually need to maybe even reassign the agent? So here I get a very quick summary for a support manager on what is actually happening on the case. In addition to that, I can click on the start review. And what start review is going to do is it's again going to invoke our escalation engine and give you the reasons why our engine thinks this case is likely to escalate. For example, this could be because of things that are happening on the case. For example, there are 33 conversations in this particular case. There are 12 negative signals. It could be something to do with the agent activity. For example, the agent hasn't responded in the last 4 days. There are a lot of cases that agent has on his backlog. The agent is actually actively working on 14 other escalations. And most important, the agent does not have the right skills to be working on this particular case. Or for example, customer activity. For example, this customer has had 5 different escalations in the last 90 days. So all these different contributing factors are leading our engine to predict that this case is also likely to escalate. What the manager can also do is, as you can see at the bottom right of the screen, there is the AI assistant recommendation where AI is recommending that maybe you don't have the right agent working on this particular case. And then it basically shows you certain other recommendations of other agents who probably have better skill match, probably they have better time overlap with the customer, maybe they have had better experience working with the same customers on the previous escalations. And based on many of these different contributing factors, the manager can decide to reassign the case to the right agent. All right. Next, as a manager, I have a good sense of this now. I see that, the quality score is 75 in QA auditors world. This is not considered to be a very high score. Maybe this is something as a support manager I want to mark for review so that the auditor knows that this is a case they should review. What I can also do is I can use the share option where, again, on an email, on a Slack, or whatever communication platform you use, you can essentially tag the auditor and trigger the review of the case from here itself. All right, so that was the second part of the demo, focused on the support manager. Let's go to the third one. The third is in the day in the life of a quality assurance or an auditor. Here, what we're going to see is how they can review the compliance scores and trends across all cases. They can conduct a quality review on a complex case. We're going to take exactly the same case that we looked at right now, which was omni-channel. It had voice. So the auditor can actually look at the auto QA results. And our QA module also operates in two modes. There is the fully autonomous mode, so that 100% of the cases and the tickets in your platform are always going to be auto QA'd. On top of that, we provide the manual mode, where an auditor can say, okay, out of maybe the 10,000 cases, here are the 500 that I would also like to manually audit. So we are actually going to see how the auditor can do a manual QA on the same case. And from here, let's now launch our Elevate product, which is our quality audit product. All right, so we are on the same case number 23939. It's the same complex case. It's omni-channel. There is voice. The first thing that I'm actually going to show is, Krithika, if you could click on the language, please. Yes, please. So as you can also see, the original, maybe your L1, L2 support was dealing with the customer in Japanese. So as you can see the original text. You can also, if you, as Krithika has already actually highlighted, Kathy is here, the agent. We are also able to detect and score on skills and behaviors that you have defined, also on the non-English text. What we essentially do is we get the non-English text, we translate it, and then we essentially run our review for the agent's skills and behaviors on the English text. So as you can see, first of all, there is also a review happening on non-English text. Let's switch back to English. Let's go to the voice call. Or maybe before the voice call. Actually, as you can also see, John Brooks is actually the customer. Here, as an auditor, I'm not just reviewing the agent for their skills and behaviors. I'm also able to get a good sense of the customer sentiments. So I can very easily see through the course of the conversation, the customer was angry. There was a lot of negativity. So all our sentiment signals are also available for the auditor in our Elevate product. Let's scroll further down, and now you have the voice call. And this rainbow picture actually is very interesting because, first of all, you can play back the actual call from here itself. The different colors actually indicate all the different sentiments and signals, as well as skills and behaviors that were detected. And this is on two things. For example, we use the actual voice call and run acoustic models on top of the voice call to be able to detect things like, was there dead air? Was there too much hold time? At the same time, if there was negativity, if there was profanity, if there was whatever other things that were detected, you would be able to see on the scorecard on the right. So on the voice call as well, you have all the criteria that you could have defined as an auditor. These are the skills and the behaviors that you want to essentially review for every agent. So across the voice call, for all the skills and the behaviors that can be very easily configured in our platform, you can essentially give a rating, and you can add detailed comments on top of the ratings. Now, what I can also do is, in addition to the auto QA, I, as an auditor, can actually perform a manual review. And I can do that in two ways. One, I can say, okay, I want to start with the auto QA as a score, as a baseline, and then enrich that further. So, Krithika, if you would just select, yep, and just proceed to review. So now it has taken essentially the auto QA scores and given me as the starting point. I can say, okay, I listened to the call, and I think this is not positive, this should be actually negative. So I can make all those changes. Cancel and please go back, Krithika. Or what I can also do is I can start the manual review, but start from scratch. Clean slate, I don't care about what the auto QA did. I just basically want to now, for the entire call, or for the entire case, want to review from scratch. But again, it's the same scorecard. You can actually configure different scorecards for auto and manual, and you can go through the entire process. And I can also, of course, add notes. So what we've seen so far is an auditor looking at a complex case that had multi-language, that had different type of interactions, voice. We are able to essentially detect the sentiments and perform a review across all of those. The other thing that I'm going to talk about is we have built in a lot of workflows. Assignments is just one of them. What are assignments? Assignments are a programmatic and a consistent way for auditors to define certain rule conditions where you may say every time there is a voice call, every time the CES, the customer effort score, is between whatever, 10 and 30, every time there is a likely to escalate signal, I always want a manual QA to be performed. So these are just consistent ways of enforcing compliance or enforcing that certain cases always get audited. From here, I can actually, as an auditor, trigger the review itself. So what Krithika did was she was in the My Assignments and she clicked on, okay, I'm just going to go through my daily workflow and directly land on a particular case that meets that criteria, and then I can basically perform a review directly from here. And again, the process is exactly what we already saw. The other thing that we've built in is the disputes. Now, whether it's auto QA, where we are leveraging AI to be able to grade a case, to be able to grade an agent, or even if it's a manual QA process, it's never going to be 100% accurate. There could be cases where I, as an auditor, think that, for example, the agent did not have a good starting, whatever skills and behaviors I may have decided, but the agent does not agree to it. So this is where we have the built-in workflows, right, the dispute workflow, where now we are looking at from an auditor lens. I can, for example, open up one of the disputes and, yep, the far right, yep, open up one of the disputes. Here, as you can see, the auditor, maybe just scroll down. No, the other way, please. Perfect. So, for example, the auditor, for the opening, which is, let's say, one of the skills that you want to review, the auditor thinks the introduction was bad. The agent, in this case, Krithika, does not agree to that. So she has basically raised a dispute and said, well, the introduction was done as per whatever our best practice is. So maybe I can re-listen to the voice, and I can potentially resolve the dispute from here. And as an auditor, I can say, okay, maybe I agree, it was my mistake. So all these built-in workflows are extremely important because it's not just using AI to do something. We know there are always workflows like assignments, like disputes that are always going to happen, and our platform enables all of these workflows out of the box. All right, let's go into the fourth part of the demo, which is for an account manager. Here, we are actually going to look at a strategic account, look for any kind of commercial signals. These could be positive commercial signals, like there is a renewal opportunity, there is an expansion opportunity, or these could be negative renewal signals as well. For example, there is a churn risk. I could check the health scores and the contributing factors. I can collaborate with the team to address some of the high priority cases that are associated with one of the strategic accounts that's probably up for renewal. And then I can also, track some of the other account trends. Let's go into the demo. So let's say an account manager is typically living in your CRM system. So again, as we were saying before, these widgets can be configured and can be enabled in any of your CRMs. For the demo purposes, we have a Salesforce. So when I'm looking at my Salesforce account, I can see that it's a high-value account. Maybe just scroll down on the left on the Salesforce view, Krithika. So let's say it's a strategic account. The renewal is up in a month. It's a high-value account. And then on the right, you see the signals from the SupportLogic system, where it shows you it has a fairly low account health score. It has some active escalations. There are a lot of negative sentiments and signals. And then there is churn risk. So as an account manager, this is something that I need to address. So from directly here, I can again launch SupportLogic. And I land on what we call as the account hub. Now, as soon as we land on the screen, you can see the account summary. This is again where we are using AWS Bedrock services to create the account summary. There are essentially 3 sections in the account summary. The first one, which is the current status, is essentially giving you some key insights, grounding you to some of the facts that you need to be aware of. For example, in this particular case, there are 3 active escalations that require an engineering fix, as an example. Or there are 6 production issues that have been reported, and all of them seem to have a high wait time. These are all grounding facts that you need to know as an account manager. The second section is the signals and the risk indicators. These are essentially warning signals and sentiments coming from our signal extraction engine. For example, it's showing that there are potentially renewal risk because there are 3 churn signals that were identified in the last 90 days. Or there is a lot of frustration signals found in 30% of almost all the open cases. The last section is essentially the overall trends in the issues. And these are essentially, I would say, potential next best actions, recommendations coming to the account manager. For example, in this case, the cases with engineering issues seem to be taking a long time than what typically it does. So maybe it's indicating that there is a lack of follow-through. Or, for example, customer has a wait time that has increased 10% in the last 1 month, which possibly could be indicating that there is maybe resource allocation that the account manager may need to be looking at. So basically, an account summary prepares an account manager on what are some of the reasons why the account has a churn risk, why the account does not have a good health score, and so on. And again, we are able to do this across all different kind of post-sales interactions. Currently, we have the support for support data. What we are also adding in the coming days is support for customer success interactions, support for any of the onboarding tickets that could also be contributing towards the overall account health score. Now, if you scroll down, you have a trend line for the account health score showing you over the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, how has the account score been trending. Now, here again for the account score, we used a heuristic model that takes into account many, many different things to be able to calculate the account score. For example, if there are dips or spikes in the cases, if there are too many escalations, what's the severity of the different cases, or what's the quality of the service that we've been providing, what are the different kind of sentiments that may have been detected over a period of time. So all these different contributing factors holistically go into the heuristic model and come up with an account health score. What I can also do from this screen is I can drill down into the data. For example, I see there are 3 active and closed escalations. By clicking on that tab, I have exactly those 3 interactions that are contributing towards that. I can actually, for example, the first one is an escalated case that has a potential churn risk. I can actually directly drill down as an account manager directly into that particular case, again, potentially use the get summary to get a very quick overview of what's potentially happening with this particular case, and then maybe collaborate with the support manager or maybe directly with the agent to help resolve the issue. The other thing that we can also do is maybe just click on 16 negative signals. Perfect. Scroll down, and you can see now all the 16 interactions that have negative signals. Some of them also have churn risks, and I can exactly do the same what we did before. From here, I can go specifically to that particular interaction and see what's going on. So in a nutshell, the Account Hub provides a holistic overview to an account manager on what's really happening at the account. It could be quantified with an account health score, which is taking into account interactions across all different post-sales teams, not just support, going forward, customer success interactions and onboarding tickets as well, and gives you a quick summary through the account summarization that we've built in for them to get a quick glimpse of what's potentially going wrong. Let's quickly also look at maybe the positive commercial signals, right? For example, in this case, I've configured an email alert that is picking on a positive commercial signal. If I click on View in SupportLogic, I can directly from here go into a case. Now, this is again very important and something that we all know in the support industry. Sometimes there is so much of this information and knowledge sitting in the support cases that never get to the account managers. For example, in this particular case, there is a potential renewal opportunity that the customer was talking about in the context of a case. And we are able to pick on some of these signals, could be renewal, could be expansion opportunities, and then through our alerting framework, notify the account manager or anyone else who needs to be notified. With that, we come to the last part of the demo, which is for the answer seeker. And this is where I would like to invite on stage my colleague, Sariel, to come and talk about the answer seeker and more broadly, the knowledge co-pilot. But before that, Krithika, there were no claps, there were no cheers. It looks like our prayers worked. These are all live demos, my friends. And please spend as much time as you want with us. We're going to be at the demo booths. There are a lot of experts that we have here. We have Krithika, we have Tali, we have head of ML, Alex. We all have sessions here, but we would also love to spend some time with each of you. So please feel free to do so. Thank you so much. Saril, over to you.